Good afternoon, all. CamelbackTrading.org coming to you this Wednesday afternoon, July 29th. And we're looking at the last couple of days of the SPY ETF's market profile here on Window Trader. And the bulls, let's see how I could describe this day. It's almost like it was preordained. I said this in my trading room, what they wanted to do no matter what, unless the Fed really said something out of the ordinary. And the reason for that is this market, I still believe, was pretty short from Thursday afternoon, Friday, Monday, Tuesday. So it doesn't surprise me we finally got out of the lower distribution, right? We said, who was winning? Well, the sellers are saying, well, you can't get out of the lower distribution. However, the way they did it, though, was strange. So what do I mean by that? Well, first of all, we opened, and we had an open and drive up. Now, the volume today was absolutely horrible again. 45 million on a Fed day without the after hours. We're not going to even come close to the average. So it was all on light volume. We had an open and drive up. We had a lowest accepted price. That's rare on a day like today, on a Fed day, that I thought, would see maybe some extension, some more short covering, but not go nuts prior to the Fed. And what's the lowest accepted price? That's where A period closed, B opens, and it either doesn't go down at all, goes down 1 or 2 pennies. And that's what it did. Never saw that. Then we had a trend day up. Now, we only had one set of single prints today, but we had an attempt at 7 overall in the SPY. We had 6. Now, 2 or 3 of them lasted for literally, a second or two, but it's still a trend day. 7 attempts at single prints, most of them before the Fed or even right after the Fed spoke. So again, that's unusual. I said earlier, I've never seen a trend day hold by 2 o'clock when the Fed speaks. Well, today's did. I thought in F period, we were going to finally go and get it. F period came down, reversed, and then we didn't see it again. Turns out to be our afternoon pullback low. So I had a good day today, mostly from the short side. Earlier in the day, I took a couple of longs throughout the day, and I'll go over my day in a minute. It looks like my room had an excellent day, a lot of them. Now again, I say at 2 o'clock, I'm not trading. I say at 2:30, I'm not trading until the press conference is mostly over. I think I took one trade. In fact, I did in L period while Powell was still speaking. I'll go over that one. Other than that, I did not take a trade from 2 o'clock until the press conference was over, and I still had a good day. So as far as my trades, I said this morning, 2 things are going to happen. We're either going to trade all of M period, okay, or sellers are going to accept the price probe lower and finally go for last week's low. Well, obviously, we traded M period. So I took a quick short against around M period. It started going higher. I added to it right at POC, and it came in. Never saw the opening, but it came in enough to make both those trades. And that's really one trade for me because I added on, and it was a nice trade. And again, all these trades were from today. I actually took a 731 trade on a long and a short L, which I'll get to in a minute. So the first put I took was a 324 put that I did today. Okay? That expired. They worked out. Then in B, started one time framing up, and we got to last month's high again. Very visual point. Took a put, came in, made money on that. Then in C, yes, we didn't take out the high right away. I'm trying to think when I took that short. We had horrible tempo. I did take a short and made some small on it. Not a lot before we started going up. I'm trying to think if it was up. I think it was actually towards the high when we took out yesterday's high. I took a short. That's when I took it. So we had singles. I still wasn't convinced to go long. We had unchanged value. Now, value here looks like it's higher. It ended overlapping to higher. But at this point in time, we were only unchanged the whole day. The volume was horrendous. The Fed was, the closer we got to the Fed, the more I thought we would come back in. So I took that short here against the yesterday's high. Came in, I made money on that. And then when did I take my next trade? G period. Took a short in G when we popped the top, the poor high, came back in, made money on that. Now, I thought longs, again, were going to give it up at some point before the Fed spoke, and they did it F. Now, the short I took, you know what? The short I took in C, I held it. I apologize. A lot of times I tell you at the end of the day, I'm forgetting what I did or how long I held them. I did start that short in C, and I held it for 4 time frames. I was back and forth. It came in, I took some off, went up, put some back on, because we weren't getting any distance away from previous highs. We were getting lack of tempo. And then F period came in, and I finally took it off. And then I said, you know what? There's a good chance if we take out E's low, we're going to flush. And I went and got lunch. Basically missed it, but that was fine. So that short in C lasted a while. And then I did it again in G when it went up and came back in. Okay. Then I did nothing. We started grinding higher. In H, I was an inside bar. J, the Fed came out with their announcement. We had a reversal bar real quick. K went higher. Now, I could have taken puts up here, longs down here. I was like, I'm not going to do that. What I did do is in L, even though the press conference was still going on, K came in a lot. L opened. I was saying, I hope L goes up a little bit, because now since I have something to lean on, I'll take a put. I took a 50 put play here, came down, filled the singles, flushed out. It was a very nice trade. And then in M period, I took, and that was the only trade. I bought the 327 puts that expired the 31st. I went out to that. Everything else I traded with 324, 325 puts that expired today. And then in M period, I took the 325 calls that expired today, looking for the price probe. So it backed off, got long, went up, popped, got on the price probe, and then again it came in. I thought the 350 algo would go up. It actually went up beforehand, took it all off, most of it off, because the 350 algo actually pushed down. I still have those puts and calls, the 330 calls and the 310 puts that expire Friday night. The reason is I'm trying to put my money where my mouth was, because I still think we're looking at a fairly big move one way or the other. Now, based on what we saw today, the buyers have, the bulls, the only thing in front of them is last week's high and then that gap again. And remember, the ES has a poor high. So we're going to see. We have GDP tomorrow morning. We have the big tech earnings tomorrow night. I still believe, even though we're up $4 today or whatever, $4, I still think we're going to get a lot more to this market one way or the other. Destinations for tomorrow. 325.73, today's high. Then we don't have anything to 327.23, which is the weekly high, and then filling that huge gap at 332.58, a 535-point gap from February 24th. Now we have a lot of ammo to lean on the downside. Now we closed at 325.12, but L's high is the price probe. Even though we closed below it, we don't know if it's accepted or rejected till A period. So L's high of 325.45 is my first destination. Now, I haven't used a price spike in a while, but I am using it today, and that's H's high. And to those of you who don't know what I use or how I use it, if we make a new high or low in JK or L, and the price spikes and we never really see it again, that's where change took place. Now, yes, J was a reversal bar, so we didn't see it again in J. We didn't see it in K. Now, we did see it in L, but that was a quick flush. Spent no time down there, and then we never saw it again. So I'm using A's high as the price spike, where buyers were and should be tomorrow if we get down there, of 324.30. Then we have F's low, afternoon pullback low of 323.23. Our single prints, 323.16, get filled at 322.97. A's high. Our lowest accepted price of 322.76, and today's low of 322.08. So they have a lot to lean on, the buyers, tomorrow in their attempt to continue their assault to the all-time highs. Now, let's go to the charts. Monthly. Remember, We closed yesterday around settlement, but below last month's high. Well, we're way above both of them right now with 2 days to go in the month, right? We want to get distance away from prior highs. If you get that, that means the trend is still young, it's still healthy. Well, that's what they're attempting to do with 2 days to go in the month. Weekly, one time frame up 3 weeks, not including this week. Again, we're trying to get above this 8-week balance and stay above it to attack the gap. And then the daily, we are one time framing up for 3 days, but I am still calling this balance, right? I'm still calling it, what is it now, a 10-day? Well, I put one time framing up for 3 days in my notes, but it's now an 11-day balance. That's the key, right? Was to get over last week's high and to keep going. Now, again, the volume. I know the volume is only one part of the equation, and I know we can grind up. But to get acceptance, right? And we always talk about acceptance. To get acceptance above this 8-week high, balance high, to get acceptance above last month's high, you need follow-through. Or unless it will eventually just fall apart and have poor structure and come back in. So, the question remains, are we going to get longer-term money into here if they realize that, hey, this looks like the ES is finally going to possibly make its move to catch up to the NASDAQ and go for its all-time high? I hope you had a great day trading. Come check us out at camelbacktrading.org. Have a great night, and we'll speak prior to the opening tomorrow.